Good morning, everyone. So I wanted to do a video to answer some questions that I was getting the other day about how to buy and store like flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, things like that for long term if you buy the larger quantities but don't use it as often as maybe, say, a family of 10. So I have in several of my videos where I say I have my bucket down here because I have this bucket that I use on like a regular basis. We actually, even though we're a household of 2, we do go through quite a bit of flour. So I do have this bucket. So I'm able to store it that way. But I don't want to just have the one bucket on hand. So I have a second bucket, and actually this one is the bread flour because we just refilled this one. But I have one with the all-purpose flour, and what I do is if you go to delis, restaurants, places that buy like pickles, and this one is buttercream icing, they have the food grade buckets, and they have the really good, the lids on them. If you buy the food grade buckets from the store, if you can get the ones that have the lid where once you snap it on you have to pull that tab to get the lid open, those are the best ones to use. You want to make sure you have a good sturdy lid on there. So for my backup, what I do is pour it in here, which we just did right before we started recording, and I put an oxygen absorber in there. For a 5-gallon bucket, you want to use a 2000 or about a 2500 oxygen absorber. They do come in different levels. So this one, now that the oxygen absorber is in there, the bucket's filled, the lid is snapped on, I will store this in a cool, dry, dark place. So food's enemies are going to be oxygen, light, humidity, and extreme temperature change. So you don't want your food storage area to like go from 70 degrees to 14 degrees. So you don't want to fill up a bunch of these buckets and then go stick them out in your garage, because the winter months, how cold is that garage or your shop or your loft in your barn, wherever, because you've got too high of a fluctuation of temperature change. In the summertime, your garage can get 80, 90 degrees. So you don't want extreme temperature. That's going to ruin it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one to show you the other ways. So real quick, with the oxygen absorbers, after you use them, because I buy the variety pack where it's the ones for the different sizes, but these are going to be my ones for the 5-gallon buckets. So after I open it, I usually have to put it in a jar, and then I will take the air out of that because I don't want all these to be used up trying to take the oxygen out of there. But here's the trick with that. You can reuse old canning lids for vacuum sealing. So like this one says zucchini relish. And I always write my stuff with a Sharpie. So here's the trick. Take a dry erase marker, color over it where I wrote zucchini relish and the date. And that's obviously been on there for a while because it said 2018. And just take a cloth. Now wipe it off. Voila! So now I can write O2 absorber, and then I write which one this is, and this is the 2000 or 2500. No, the 2000. Sorry about that. So now I'm going to put these back in a dark cabinet. I don't want those sitting out in the light either. And this is a cabinet we don't get into all the time, so I kind of keep the extra stuff like that down there. Okay, so now you have, that's method 1. like I said, if you have a big family. Now what if you're a household of 1 or 2? You only use flour, I don't know, maybe once a year. And you want some different ways to store it. Well, another way is you can get the big mason jars, or really any size jar that you want. And I'm just going to do this, and I'll just leave all these ways out because I know I'll use them this week. So you would just make sure you fill your jar to the top and tight, and I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, so if you take your jar and you smack the bottom of it, that is going to pack it in there. Now with mason jars, you have a couple different options. One, you can use the vacuum sealer like I'm going to, or you can buy the oxygen absorbers, just the smaller. I think those ones you only need the 300s for this size mason jar, and you can just put an oxygen absorber in there, because what if you don't have one of the vacuum sealers? If you don't have one of those, then you're not going to be able to use that method. So I don't want you to think, oh, well, I don't have one of those, so that won't work for me. No, you can still buy the oxygen absorbers and do the same exact thing as you would with a bucket, only you're doing it with a jar. So when you're doing dry ingredients like this, you don't have to worry about the 1-inch headspace. That is only for when you're canning, you know, the 1-inch or 1/2-inch headspace depending on the recipe. That's only when you're water bathing or pressure canning your food. This is just storing dry food, so you do not have to worry about that. So if you were doing the oxygen absorbers, you'd put that in and then you'd put your lid on. But since I'm doing the vacuum seal, it takes just a couple seconds to do. It doesn't take very long. Sorry if that's super loud. Now, if it's taking a seriously long time, you may want to stop it and see if the lid shifted. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this one. I'm going to check my... Actually, that's sealed. See? Huh. Oh yeah. See, by doing the vacuum seal, see how it brought it up? So I got the oxygen out of there. And I'll probably redo that one again in a little while just to make sure all the oxygen's out of there, but just to kind of move on to other things. So, that is another way to store flour. If you don't really want to deal with the mason jars, or you don't have a lot of space, I do highly, highly recommend investing in one of these vacuum sealers. So you can get you a food grade 5-gallon bucket with a lid. These bags come either pre-cut and sealed on one side, or like I have, you can make your own size. So if you want them super big, super little, that's the ones that I buy, are the uncut rolls. And you can just make you a bag. Now, you would just, and actually probably the easiest way to do this would be like if you have a bowl, just something for it to sit in or hold up while you're getting at least some of it in there. Oops. So let's say you have one of those canisters on your countertop that holds flour. You know, what is it, the 3 set, you have flour, sugar, and coffee or something. Well, measure how much flour your canister holds. So let's say your canister holds 4 cups of flour. Then you'll get these bags and put 4 cups of flour in one of these bags. You know, make you several bags. I don't know if that's 4 cups. I'm just doing this just to show you guys. But, you know, make several of these bags and put 4 cups in each one. And seal them up. Nala, no. Okay, so make yourself a bunch of these at 4 cups each, or however much your little container holds that you keep your daily flour in. Now take these and put them all in a 5-gallon bucket and put your lid on. Then you don't have to put the other oxygen absorber. You won't even need to purchase that. You would just have a bunch of these in a 5-gallon bucket, and then you can take your lid off, take one out, put your lid back on. You know, open this up, fill up your kitchen container. So that's another option for you to be able to store those. So if you want to be able to purchase flour and sugar and whatever items that you may, you know, want to buy in bulk, you can do that. Just use different methods of preserving them. But the key thing, it doesn't matter if you use this method, the 5-gallon bucket with the oxygen absorber. You know, you can even buy the small bags of flour and sugar. Cut a bag big enough that the whole thing fits in there. Then you don't even have to open that package. Just seal that package and put them in a 5-gallon bucket. But regardless of which method you use, none of these are going to do you any good if you've got it stored in an area that the temperature changes drastically, summer and winter. An area that gets wet or has a lot of humidity in there. Or if you've got, you know, this jar, you know, you're wanting this jar to last you a year or 2 years, but you've got it sitting out in the open where the sun is shining. None of these methods will work if you don't store it properly. So regardless of which method, you know, you pick that works best for you, make sure you store it in a cool, dark, dry place. I hear you, Nala. Nala saying good morning. That's why pantries have doors on them or whatever. If you have a hall closet, stick it in the bottom. Stick these buckets in the bottom of the hall closet. You know, make you a bunch of these, pack that in there, pop your lid on, stick it in the hall closet. The back of your bedroom closet, you know, wherever you can, because that's more of a temperature controlled environment inside your house than outside in a shop. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to y'all. If you like our videos, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We greatly appreciate it. Hit us up on Instagram. We're on there as well. And I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend, staying busy and doing, you know, all of their gardening and getting everything done and making sure that your family is going to be taken care of, you know, in these months or years to come. So I wish everyone a wonderful weekend, a very blessed weekend. And even if you're stressed out today, remember, every day is a new beginning. See you on the next video.